At 6:47 a.m. on November 3, 1944, Private First Class Michael Donovan crouched in a destroyed bakery in Metz, France, watching through a crack in the wall as German positions emerged from the morning fog. 22 years old, 6 months in combat, 14 confirmed kills, 0 times he'd seen the enemy sniper before getting shot at first. The Germans had fortified Metz with over 200 defensive positions. Donovan was part of the 5th Infantry Division, trying to take the city. His job was counter-sniper work. Find German snipers, eliminate them before they killed American infantrymen. Simple in theory, brutal in practice. The problem wasn't his rifle. The M1903 Springfield with scope was accurate to 800 yards. The problem wasn't his training. Donovan had graduated top of his sniper class at Fort Benning. The problem was German snipers saw him first every time, without exception. German snipers used a technique called the double position. They'd set up 2 shooting positions 30 to 50 yards apart. They'd fire from one position, then move to the second before the Americans could triangulate the shot. By the time Donovan aimed at the first position, the German was already shooting from the second. The math was simple and deadly. Donovan needed 12 to 15 seconds to acquire a target through his scope, calculate distance, adjust for wind, and fire. German snipers needed the same time, but they were already aiming when Donovan was still searching. They shot first, always. By early November, the 5th Infantry Division had lost 23 American snipers in Metz. 23 men who were supposed to be the best marksmen in their battalions. 23 funerals, all killed the same way, shot while searching for targets they never saw. Donovan's first partner was Corporal James Bradley, October 18, 1944. Farm kid from Nebraska could hit a running rabbit at 200 yards. They'd worked together for 3 weeks. Bradley had 9 confirmed kills. That morning, Bradley was scanning a factory building through his scope when a German round hit him in the head. 7.92mm Mauser. The shot came from a window 400 yards away. Bradley died instantly. Donovan never even saw where the German was hiding. The enemy sniper had spotted them, aimed, fired, before either American knew they were being hunted. Donovan's second partner was Private First Class Robert Chen, October 29th. Chen was from San Francisco. Sharp eyes, steady hands, 12 confirmed kills. They'd been working together for 8 days. Chen was watching a German trench line through his scope. When the shot came, hit him in the chest, punctured his lung. Chen lived for 40 minutes, drowning in his own blood while medics tried to save him. The German sniper had been concealed in rubble 350 yards away. Donovan found the position after Chen died, but the German was long gone. The pattern never changed. American sniper sets up position. American sniper searches for targets. German sniper, already watching, fires first. American sniper dies. Command kept sending the same orders: stay mobile, change positions frequently, use concealment. But the orders didn't address the fundamental problem. By the time an American sniper found a target, German snipers had already been watching them for minutes, had already calculated the shot, were already pulling the trigger. Donovan studied how the engagements developed. He'd watched German positions through his scope, searching for movement, for muzzle flash, for anything that indicated a sniper. But while he was searching forward through his scope, he couldn't see what was happening behind him. Couldn't see if German snipers were watching him from different angles. Couldn't see the threats he wasn't looking at. The scope was the problem. When you looked through an 8 times magnification scope, your field of view shrank to 8 degrees. You could see far, but you couldn't see wide. It was like looking through a toilet paper tube. Everything outside that narrow cone was invisible. German snipers exploited this ruthlessly. They didn't shoot from the positions Americans were watching. They shot from flanking positions, from angles. American snipers weren't scanning. By the time an American turned to search a new sector, German snipers were already aiming. After Chen died, Donovan spent 3 nights thinking about the problem. How do you see threats you're not looking at? How do you watch behind you while scanning forward? How do you survive when the enemy spots you first? The solution came from his shaving kit, a simple mirror, 4x6-inch standard military issue. Donovan realized he could mount it to give himself peripheral vision while looking through the scope. Mount it at an angle where he could see behind him with a quick glance, without moving his head, without giving away his position. It was insane, completely unauthorized. Modifying sniper equipment without approval could get him court-martialed. But Bradley was dead. Chen was dead. 23 American snipers were dead. Donovan didn't want to be number 24. If this story is pulling you in, hit that like button right now and subscribe, because what happens next changed how American snipers fought for the rest of the war. These stories matter. The men who lived them deserve to be remembered. Donovan worked alone on the night of November 2nd. The building his unit occupied had been a hotel before the war. Now it was rubble. Shattered walls, collapsed ceilings, broken glass everywhere. The smell of smoke and cordite hung in the air. He'd found a quiet corner on the third floor where nobody would interrupt him, pulled his rifle from its case, set it on a makeshift table from broken furniture. The November night was cold. He could see his breath in the dim light of his flashlight. From his pack, Donovan pulled the mirror from his shaving kit, 4 by 6 inches metal frame, slightly scratched but still reflective. Also in his pack, electrical tape salvaged from signal wire, a knife, and wire cutters. Not exactly precision tools, but they'd have to work. The rifle was M1903 Springfield with an ATX and scope mounted on top. The scope sat about 3 inches above the barrel, held in place by steel rings. Donovan needed to mount the mirror where he could see it while looking through the scope, but without interfering with the rifle's operation or his sight picture. He tested different positions, held the mirror in various spots, simulating how he'd look through the scope. Too high, and he couldn't see it without lifting his eye from the scope. Too low, and it blocked his view. Too far forward, and the angle was wrong. After 20 minutes of testing, he found the perfect position. Mounted on the left side of the scope, angled at 45 degrees, positioned about 8 inches forward of his eye position. From there, when he looked through the scope at a target, he could see the mirror in his peripheral vision. Just a glance to the left, and he could see what was behind him. His hands were shaking as he started the installation, not from cold, from knowing this modification violated every regulation in the sniper manual. Unauthorized modifications to precision equipment, altering military property without approval. Minimum punishment was reassignment. Maximum was dishonorable discharge. But Chen's face kept appearing in his mind. Chen gasping for air, blood bubbling from his chest, dying slowly while Donovan pressed on the wound and screamed for a medic. Chen had been watching forward when the Germans shot him from the side. If Chen had been able to see that flanking angle, he might still be alive. Donovan cut the electrical tape into strips, wrapped it around the mirror frame to create a cushion, then wrapped more tape around the scope tube where the mirror would attach. The tape provided padding and grip. The mirror needed to stay in place during recoil, needed to maintain its angle, needed to not shift or rattle. The installation took 40 minutes. His fingers kept slipping on the tape. The mirror kept sliding. Twice it fell off completely and he had to start over. Each time it clattered against the floor, his heart pounded. If anyone heard him, if an officer came to investigate, he'd face immediate charges. Finally, the mirror held. He tested it, looked through the scope like he was aiming at a target, glanced left. The mirror showed the view behind him, the doorway, the hallway, everything in his rear arc. It worked. Donovan ran the tape around the mirror frame 3 more times, securing it tight, tested the rifle's balance. The mirror added maybe 4 ounces, negligible weight. Checked the scope alignment. Still perfect. The mirror didn't interfere with the rifle 0. The modification looked crude, obviously not factory equipment. Any officer who inspected the rifle would see it immediately. But Donovan didn't plan on letting officers inspect his rifle. He'd keep it in its case, take it out only for missions, hope nobody noticed. He cleaned up the tape scraps, put away his tools. It was 045 hours. In 5 hours, he'd be moving to a new position in the destroyed industrial district. German snipers controlled that sector. 3 American snipers had died there in the past week. Tomorrow, Donovan would test whether a simple mirror could change his odds of survival. At 0647 hours on November 3rd, Donovan moved into position in the destroyed bakery. The building had taken artillery fire. Most of the south wall was gone, exposing the interior to the street. The Germans held a factory complex 400 yards away. Perfect sniper terrain.
Donovan's new partner was Private Sam Martinez. Martinez was 19, from Texas, had been a sniper for 3 weeks. 0 kills, but good instincts. Martinez had noticed the mirror on Donovan's rifle that morning, asked what it was for. Donovan told him, survival. Martinez didn't ask more questions. They set up in a corner room on the second floor. The bakery's old brick oven provided cover. A crack in the wall gave them a narrow view of the German positions. Donovan used broken furniture to create a shooting rest. Martinez covered the room's entrance, watching for German infantry. The morning fog was lifting. Donovan could see the factory complex emerging from the gray. Broken windows, collapsed sections, piles of rubble. Somewhere in that wreckage, German snipers were waiting. Donovan settled behind his rifle, pressed his eye to the scope. The 8x magnification brought the factory into sharp focus. He started scanning left to right, slow, methodical, looking for movement, for anything that indicated a sniper position. His field of view through the scope was narrow, about 50 feet at 400 yards. Everything outside that cone was invisible. That's what killed Bradley and Chen. They'd been looking through their scopes, focused on one sector, blind to everything else. But now Donovan had the mirror. While scanning through the scope, he could see the mirror in his peripheral vision. The mirror showed the street behind him, the ruined buildings across the way. His flank approaches. It wasn't perfect coverage, but it was better than being completely blind to his rear. At 07:23 hours, Donovan spotted movement in the factory. Third floor, damaged window, something dark moved behind the frame. Could be a sniper, could be debris shifting. He watched, held his aim steady. The movement came again. Definitely human. A German soldier. Careful, slow, probably a sniper setting up a position. Donovan calculated the distance. 410 yards. Wind was calm, easy shot. He was about to take it when he saw something in the mirror. Just a flicker of movement. Behind him, across the street, a building he'd already cleared last night. Donovan kept his eye on the scope, but shifted his attention to the mirror, watched the reflection there. Third floor window. Something moved. A German sniper. Donovan could see the barrel reflection in the mirror, see the scope glint. The German was aiming directly at Donovan's position, had probably been watching him for several minutes, was probably about to fire. This was exactly how Bradley died. Focused on a target ahead, killed by a sniper from a flanking angle he never saw. But Donovan saw it. The mirror showed him the threat. He didn't move, didn't turn his head, didn't give any indication he'd spotted the German, just kept his rifle aimed at the factory while whispering to Martinez. German sniper, building behind us, third floor, left window. He's aiming at us right now. Martinez moved slowly, pulled his M1 Garand into position, aimed toward the building behind them, found the window, saw the German sniper. Martinez whispered, "I see him." Donovan said, "On my count, I'll take the one in the factory, you take the one behind us." 3, 2, 1. Donovan fired. The Springfield cracked. 410 yards. The German in the factory jerked backward, hit in the chest. He fell out of view. Martinez fired. The Garand's 30-06 round punched through the window frame behind them. The German sniper slumped forward. Dead. 2 shots, 2 kills. 5 seconds total. Donovan worked the Springfield's bolt, ejected the spent casing, loaded another round, scanned through the scope again. The mirror showed no more threats behind him. They were clear. Martinez was breathing hard, adrenaline pumping. He said, "That German was about to shoot you. He had you dead. How did you see him?" Donovan showed Martinez the mirror, explained how it worked. Martinez stared at it for a long moment, then said, "You need to put that on every sniper rifle in the battalion." The engagement that morning lasted 4 hours. Donovan's team eliminated 6 German snipers. Donovan got 4, Martinez got 2. Every kill followed the same pattern. Donovan would spot a target through his scope, but before taking the shot, he'd check the mirror. 3 times the mirror revealed German snipers trying to flank them from positions Donovan wasn't watching. Each time, Martinez engaged the flanking threat while Donovan took the forward target. The coordination worked flawlessly. The mirror gave them 360-degree awareness. German snipers couldn't ambush them because Donovan could see them coming. By afternoon, word had spread through the sniper teams. Donovan's team had eliminated 6 Germans without taking casualties. Other teams wanted to know how. Martinez told them about the mirror. By evening, 3 more snipers wanted the modification. Donovan installed the first mirror on Sergeant Frank Wilson's rifle that night. Wilson was 28, from Montana, a hunter before the war. He had lost 2 partners in 3 weeks, both killed by flanking shots they never saw coming. Wilson watched Donovan work, asked questions about the angle, the positioning, the attachment method. When Donovan finished, he tested it, looked through the scope, glanced at the mirror, said it was perfect, said he should have thought of it himself, asked if Donovan wanted payment. Donovan said, "No, just don't get killed. That's payment enough." The next morning, Wilson's team engaged German snipers near the cathedral. Wilson spotted 2 Germans using the mirror, eliminated them before they could fire, came back raving about how the modification saved his life, told every sniper he knew. By November 8th, Donovan had installed mirrors on 9 rifles. The modification spread sniper to sniper, team to team. Some snipers made their own mirrors, using whatever reflective material they could find. Broken glass, polished metal, even pieces of chrome from destroyed vehicles. The mirrors didn't need to be perfect, they just needed to reflect. The battalion's kill ratio shifted. In October, American snipers in Metz lost 2 men for every German eliminated. By mid-November, it was 4-1 in American favor. 4 German snipers killed for every American lost. Captain Robert Hayes commanded the battalion sniper platoon. Hayes was career Army, 12 years in service, knew every sniper manual by heart. On November 10th, he did an inspection of the sniper teams, standard procedure, checking equipment, verifying zero, ensuring rifles were combat ready. He climbed up to Donovan's position, saw the mirror attached to the Springfield, stopped, stared at it for a long time, then asked, "What is that?" Donovan's stomach dropped. This was it. Court-martial, everything he had feared since installing the first mirror. Martinez spoke up before Donovan could answer. Said it was a mirror modification, helped snipers see flanking threats, had saved their lives multiple times in the past week. Completely unauthorized, but proven effective in combat. Hayes asked who authorized it. Martinez said nobody. They'd done it themselves. Knew it was against regulations, but it worked. Hayes examined the mirror closely, tested the angle, looked through the scope, then glanced at the mirror, understood immediately what it did. He asked Donovan, "How many rifles have this modification?" Donovan said, "9, sir, including mine." Hayes looked at him, then said something Donovan never expected. "By tomorrow morning, I want every sniper rifle in this battalion to have one. That's an order. I'll handle the paperwork. You focus on keeping my men alive." Donovan stood there, stunned. Hayes had just made the modification official, protected Donovan from charges. More than that, Hayes understood the mirrors were saving lives, and he was willing to break regulations to save more. That night, Donovan worked faster than ever before. He recruited other snipers, showed them how to install mirrors, taught them the positioning, the angle, the attachment method. Some mirrors were mounted with tape, others used wire. One sniper used leather straps from a gas mask. The methods varied, but the principle stayed the same. Give snipers peripheral vision while looking through their scopes. By November 12th, every sniper in the battalion had a mirror. The modification was no longer a secret, it was standard equipment. German snipers noticed the change almost immediately. Intelligence reports from November mentioned unusual American sniper behaviors. Americans were engaging German flanking positions they shouldn't have been able to see. were counterattacking before German snipers could fire, were somehow aware of threats outside their scope's field of view. German sniper commanders tried to adapt. They started using longer range positions, attacking from 600 to 800 yards instead of 400. But American snipers with mirrors could still detect movement at those ranges. The mirrors showed flanking threats regardless of distance. Some German snipers tried attacking from multiple positions simultaneously, hoping to overwhelm American awareness. But mirror-equipped snipers working in pairs could cover all angles. One sniper watched forward, the other watched the mirror. Nothing got past them. By late November,
In January 1945, an evaluation team from Aberdeen Proving Ground came to Metz. 3 officers, 2 civilian ballistics experts. They inspected the mirrors, tested them, interviewed snipers, measured the field of view improvement, calculated the tactical advantage. Their conclusion? The mirrors provided a significant survivability enhancement. Should be integrated into sniper doctrine. But they wanted to redesign the system, use manufactured mirrors instead of salvaged materials, create standardized mounting brackets, turn the field improvisation into proper military equipment. The team wrote a formal recommendation, submitted it to Army Ordnance, suggested that all sniper rifles be fitted with peripheral mirrors, made it sound like they discovered the innovation. Donovan's name never appeared in the documentation. Neither did Martinez's. Neither did Hayes's. The official record would show that Army evaluators had identified a sniper visibility problem and developed a mirror solution. Hayes tried to correct this. He wrote letters, submitted after-action reports, made sure Donovan's name was in every document from the battalion. But those reports got lost in military bureaucracy. The evaluation team's version became official. Donovan learned about this in February 1945. An officer showed him the documentation, asked if he wanted to file a complaint. Donovan said no. He didn't care about credit. He cared that snipers were surviving, that partners weren't dying from shots they never saw coming. The war in Europe ended on May 8, 1945. Donovan had survived 11 months of combat. 47 confirmed kills. The mirror had saved his life at least 6 times. 6 times he spotted German snipers trying to flank him. 6 times. He eliminated them first. Martinez survived too. 14 confirmed kills. After the war, Martinez went back to Texas, became a police officer in Houston. He kept a photograph of Donovan's rifle with the mirror on his desk for 30 years. Every year on November 3rd, Martinez called Donovan, thanked him for installing the mirror, told him he wouldn't have survived Metz without it. Wilson also survived. 31 confirmed kills. The mirror saved him 4 times. He returned to Montana after the war, became a hunting guide. Sometimes he'd tell clients about the mirror modification, about how a desperate sniper had figured out how to see threats he wasn't looking at, about how that simple trick had saved lives. Donovan stayed in the Army until 1946, then went home to Pennsylvania, worked in a factory for 35 years, same work he'd done before the war. He married in 1947, had 3 children, lived quietly, never talked much about the war. When people asked, he'd say, he was a sniper, that's all. He didn't mention the mirror modification, didn't mention saving dozens of snipers, didn't mention changing how American snipers fought. It wasn't modesty. He just didn't think it mattered anymore. By the 1960s, the mirror modification had been mostly forgotten. New sniper scopes had better optics, some had integrated peripheral indicators. But nobody remembered that the concept started with a piece of shaving mirror taped to a Springfield in Metz. The official Army history of sniper operations never mentioned Donovan. The training manuals credited improved optics and better tactics. Donovan's contribution had been erased, not intentionally, just through bureaucratic process. Field modifications weren't historically significant. Official developments were. In 1987, a military historian researching sniper innovations found references to improvised mirrors in November the 1944 maintenance logs. The logs mentioned Private First Class Donovan. The historian spent months tracking down veterans from that unit. Found Martinez. Martinez told him the whole story. About Bradley dying, about Chen dying, about Donovan installing the mirror, about how it spread through the battalion, about how it saved lives. The historian found Donovan through veteran registries. Donovan was 67 years old, still living in Pennsylvania. The historian asked if he'd installed the mirrors. Donovan said yes. Asked why the historian cared about something that happened 40 years ago. The historian said based on survival rate improvements in units that used mirrors versus units that didn't, the modification probably saved between 40 and 60 American sniper lives between November 44 and May 1945. Donovan said he'd never counted. He just remembered Martinez and Wilson and the others who came back. That was enough. The historian published his findings in 1989. Small article in a military history journal. Described the mirror modification, credited Donovan, included interviews with Martinez and Wilson. The article reached maybe 1,500 readers, mostly academics, veterans, history enthusiasts. Donovan received 4 letters after the article published, all from snipers or their families. One from a sniper who'd used the mirror in Germany, said it saved his life twice. One from a widow whose husband had been a sniper in Metz. She'd never known about the mirrors. Learning about them 40 years later gave her comfort knowing someone had tried to keep her husband alive. Captain Hayes visited Donovan in 1992. They hadn't seen each other in 45 years. Talked for hours about Metz, about the snipers they'd lost, about the ones they had saved. Hayes said he had tried for years to get Donovan recognized, written letters, filed reports. Nobody cared. Too much time had passed. Donovan said he didn't need recognition. He had Martinez alive, had Wilson alive, had 40 others alive. That's recognition enough. Michael Donovan died on June 7, 2001. He was 79 years old. His obituary mentioned his service in World War II. Did not mention the mirror modification, did not mention that he'd saved dozens of lives, did not mention that he'd changed how American snipers fought in Europe. His funeral was small. Family, a few friends. 4 men Donovan didn't know well attended. They introduced themselves after the service. Snipers, men whose lives had been saved by the mirror modification. They'd read about Donovan's death in veterans' newsletters, wanted to pay respects, wanted the family to know what he'd done. Donovan's children learned a full story that day, learned their father had installed mirrors on sniper rifles, learned those mirrors had saved lives, learned he'd done it without authorization, learned he'd never talked about it because he didn't think it mattered. Today, Donovan's story exists in fragments. Maintenance logs in the National Archives, interview transcripts, a paragraph in a book about sniper modifications. Most people who study World War II snipers have never heard of him. But if you visit the Infantry Museum at Fort Benning, you can see an M1903 Springfield from World War II. Mounted on the scope is a small rectangular mirror, 4x6, in metal frame, crude tape mounting. It's labeled as a field modification, common in late 1944. No name attached. That mirror is Donovan's legacy. Not the official one. The real one. The one that mattered. To Martinez and Wilson and the 40 others who survived because a desperate sniper broke regulations to save his partners. That's how innovation actually happens in war. Not through committees or training manuals. Through soldiers who see problems and fix them, who don't wait for authorization, who risk everything because their friends are dying and they can't stand watching anymore. Donovan installed the mirror to save Martinez. That mirror saved dozens, and nobody remembers his name. But you do now. If this story moved you the way it moved us, hit that like button
Every like helps us rescue more forgotten stories from dusty archives and share them with people who care. Subscribe to our community of history keepers. These stories don't preserve themselves. They need people like you who understand that the real heroes weren't always the ones with medals. Sometimes they were snipers with mirrors and the courage to break the rules. Drop a comment and tell us where you're watching from. Our audience stretches from New York to Tokyo, from museum curators to the grandchildren of World War II veterans. You're not just watching, you're part of keeping these memories alive. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. And thank you for making sure Michael Donovan's story doesn't fade into silence.